Hi everyone, it's lovely to be here again to do assembly number 2. Except we're not quite going to do assembly number 2 because something exciting's come up and I've just got to put that on pause for a moment because you're never going to guess what's happened. Look what I've got. I know, I've got a pineapple.
A pineapple?
A pineapple! Quick, go and get Daddy because this is so exciting.
Daddy, we got a pineapple.
A pineapple? Well,
Yeah, a pineapple.
Wow.
We've got a pineapple. Now, Bob, could you do me a favour? Could you do all of the invitations for me for the pineapple party?
All of them? How many are you having?
Well, I think we should have all our friends because it is a pineapple party.
All of them. Okay, I'm on to it straight away.
Thank you very, very much because what we'll do, Florence, is we'll have the pineapple in the middle of the table. And then we'll have all of our friends and they'll come round and admire it and they'll ooh and they'll ah and they'll think that we're really, really special. And then at the end of the party, they can have a tiny piece of pineapple to take away with them and they'll talk about it for weeks.
But it's just a pineapple.
Well, you're right, actually, Florence. It is just a pineapple. And we're not really going to have a pineapple party. But do you know what? 200 years ago, pineapples were really, really special. And people did have pineapple parties because they were so rare. You see, they were really, really difficult to grow and they were really difficult to get to this country. And you'll never guess how much a pineapple used to cost. Pineapple used to cost the same as a car. Can you believe that? But now, this pineapple I got from the shop the other day cost me about £1.50. So it's relatively cheap now and isn't so special anymore. But it still tastes of pineapple and it's still absolutely delicious. So why don't we appreciate pineapples as much as we did? Well, it's because they are less expensive and we can get them really, really easily. So when things become more common, we don't appreciate them quite so much. But back in 200 years ago, pineapples were very special and very, very rare indeed. But I think that story of pineapples tells us something about ourselves and how we could learn to appreciate things a little bit more than we do. When something's cheap and easy to get hold of, we stop paying attention to it. So, actually, sorry, I'm just going to pause again. Florence, can you go and run yourself a bath for me?
But I had a bath yesterday.
Yes, I know, but can you just go and do it for me?
Why?
Because, well, imagine a long time ago, baths were really, really special and really, really rare. And it was so wonderful to get into a bath full of warm water and feel that on your body and be able to clean yourself and feel so fresh and washed at the end of it. So why don't you imagine that it's 200 years ago and baths are really, really special and rare?
Okay, I'll go and run myself a bath.
Good girl, thank you very much. And then imagine you can play some tricks with yourselves. Imagine you're really, really hot and thirsty and you've been running around in the garden for ages or you've been at the park exercising and sometimes at home you get a bit stroppy about having a glass of water because you'd like something more exciting. Supposing you'd been running around and you're so hot, and what would it be like to have that special glass of water?
Refreshing.
Refreshing. Take a sip, see what it's like. Is it really good? It's great, isn't it? So if you appreciate that when you're hot and sticky, why can't you appreciate it just on a normal day? An apple. Here's an apple. It's an everyday object, isn't it? Supposing you were to imagine that you were the only person in the world who was allowed to eat an apple. Imagine if you took a bite, how fresh and crispy it might be and how special you could make just eating an apple. Or, this is something that Florence doesn't like doing very much. What would you say if I asked you to go and clean your teeth?
I don't want to.
No, she doesn't want to. But supposing I said you're the only person in the whole world who's allowed to clean your teeth today. That would make it quite special. And imagine if you really, really thought about how minty and fresh and clean your teeth felt afterwards. That would make something very, very ordinary a little bit more special. The same could be when you do some writing. When was the last time you actually thought about a pencil? thought about how special it is and how clever it is that you can pick it up and make some marks on the paper and actually write something that other people can read and understand. How you can make everyday items really, really special. Now, since we've all been at home and we haven't been going to school and we haven't been living what we might call our normal lives, we've all been going for walks a little bit more. And one of the things I've appreciated this year that I've never really appreciated as much before is spring coming. And you can see behind me at the end of my garden, there's a massive tree. And we've really, really watched that tree growing and changing, and now it's full of leaves, soft, light green leaves. Other things that we've noticed is the birds singing. And you can probably hear them now. The birds talking to each other. We've really, really able to hear them because there's less traffic. And we've really, really acknowledged how special birds are at this time of year. Florence noticed a bee swarm the other day, didn't you? Do you want to tell them about the bee swarm you saw?
I thought that it was a lawnmower, but then I saw lots and lots of bees in the air. And they were flying across and running inside.
So we appreciated that, didn't we? And we looked them up and we found out that this is the time for bees to be swarming. And another thing we've noticed, and we're really, really lucky, we've got foxes living in our garden. I don't think I would have noticed that before because I spend a lot more time in my kitchen and I'm spending a lot more time in my garden. And we noticed that there were foxes that have made their home underneath our shed. And if we're really, really lucky, in the evening, we get to see the little cubs come out to play. All these things make our lives very, very special. And it makes me notice things a little bit more now we've been at home and we're not quite as distracted as we normally are. So, I come to our big idea for our curious minds. And this week I want to introduce you to somebody called Mary Wollstonecraft. Now, Mary Wollstonecraft lived a long, long time ago, back in the time when a pineapple would have been a really, really big deal. There she is, or a picture of what could be her, it isn't actually her, in a bath. Mary Wollstonecraft was an English philosopher. She was born in 1759, so that is over 200 years ago. She was raised in London, but her childhood wasn't very happy because her parents quarrelled a lot. When she was older, she and her sisters opened a school. This was quite a scandal because at that time, people, believe it or not, thought that only boys should be educated. But Mary Wollstonecraft, she disagreed very, very strongly. She was a really, really great teacher and she wrote a philosophy book for children. One of the chapters in her book is about procrastination. I wonder if you can find out what procrastination is. She really liked going to parties and she became friends with lots and lots of really, really interesting people. She was brave, but she wasn't too worried about what people thought of her. Once, she travelled to Sweden, Norway and Denmark to try and rescue some treasure that had been stolen from one of her friends. One of the things that Mary Wollstonecraft was really, really interested in was how people spend money. She tried to teach people to think hard about what they really wanted before they bought anything. Mary Wollstonecraft called this idea about thinking hard about things being rational. She felt that a lot of really well-off people wasted their money on things they didn't enjoy. She definitely would not have encouraged someone to spend a fortune buying expensive pineapples. It's not that she thought it was nice to be poor. She liked wearing decent clothes and she was very pleased with the money she made from the books she wrote, but she thought that lots of people forget how nice and simple ordinary things can be, and she tried to help them remember. And hopefully, Mary Wollstonecraft can help you remember too, that ordinary things can be really, really special if we think about them. So Florence, should we go and have some lunch?
Yeah,
And maybe have some pineapple for pudding?
maybe.